The entire world is trapped in a prison they've been used to create themselves. There isn't a way out unless the people themselves all decide en masse to throw off their social programming collectively, yet they are programmed to hold on to it. David Icke's analogy of the sheep and sheepdogs and the police sheeping each other is quite brilliant and very accurate. Until the people collectively throw down the entire system worldwide and realize the source of these problems and how they've been used to create their own prisons, and refuse to rebuild something similar again, or be led astray by the same influences that have controlled the entire world and the entire species for all of recorded history, everyone will ultimately remain a slave or livestock, or unless enough decide to do this, the powers that be jump ship and salvage what they can of their herd and take them someplace else. This is an all-or-nothing scenario. It always has been. And that scenario depends heavily upon the choices of the individual, if we look at it from the previously mentioned perspective of subjective truth and the need for a point of observation.
Thanks, but the Bushmen in Australia and the Amish in America aren't part of the system and therefore can't be part of the karmic consequences of those in the system. Think of Tom Hanks in the movie Castaway. After he's been on that island for a while, he too wouldn't be part of the system or the karmic consequences anymore, in my humble opinion. That's actually a big part of the story now that I think about it. I think your logic is flawed here.
They may not take on the energetic debt of other individual groups, and in certain ways they are better off than those trapped inside the cities currently. However, they are affected by the frequency and energy of the planet and of their species as a whole. The last time I checked, there was a decline in the total number of Bushmen, Native Americans and many other tribal peoples living their indigenous lifestyles after Europeans colonized their lands. In fact, it would very much appear that the entire continent of North America, an entire continent of people living a tribal lifestyle based upon a spirituality not directly controlled by the bloodlines, was almost entirely wiped out. Its spirituality Christianized, and its ties to the nature order all but destroyed in recent history. The Amish consider themselves Christians and come from a religious tradition that claims its God orders genocide in the Torah, is responsible for the Crusades, the Inquisition, the burning of witches and pagans at the stake and other such lovely events prior to the formation of the Mennonites, who later became the Amish, as a group who took upon themselves these traditions and worship of an ascended Old One as its patron deity. They may be free of the current Christian holy war in Iraq, as they have denounced it as a group, however they still carry the previous burdens the faith had accumulated prior to their split. These individuals only appear free of the system if you consider the system to be a modern institution, rather than something spanning the entire globe and the entirety of the human species from the ancient past. To my knowledge, Amish or Bushmen children were not healing incurable diseases with only thoughts, constructing stone monoliths without machinery or tools, levitating, or any similar phenomenon on any large scale in the recent past. They seem to have the same genetic restrictions in place that the rest of the species does, and do not appear to be tapping significantly further into their potential than your children or your neighbor's children. Clearly they are not free of the system. Although feel free to disagree with my logic, I will not take it personally.